Under the president's plan, $447 billion in spending would be targeted. That accounts for about 17% of the total federal budget. The freeze is designed to save $250 billion over the next decade. And the spending crackdown would be limited to discretionary items. Money for the military, Homeland Security, and veterans programs would not be affected. Talking Points Memo senior reporter Christina Bellantoni joins us now live from the White House. And Christina, what's this all about?
Well, a lot of it is politics. A lot of it is actually what the Obama administration wants to do. They've long said that 2010 would be a new fiscal responsibility year. They had to kind of clean up, take over last year and present a budget that still was reflective of the last administration's priorities in some ways. So this is a new effort upon the administration to try and cut that deficit. But it's very yet to be determined if Congress is going to go along with it. You've already, as you mentioned, run into some roadblocks before it's even official.
And in fact, one of the roadblocks may be the president's own statements from the presidential campaign. Here's what President Obama said in one of the presidential debates a little more than a year and a half ago. Watch.
Yes, we may have to cut some spending, although I disagree with Senator McCain about an across-the-board freeze. That's an example of an unfair burden sharing. That's using a hatchet to cut the federal budget. I want to use a scalpel so that people who need help are getting help, and those of us like myself and Senator McCain who don't need help aren't getting it.
Christina, the president at the time went on to say that some programs like early childhood education, it would be unfair to freeze or cut those budgets, but that is exactly what would happen under at least the contours of this plan. How's the White House explaining this apparent flip-flop?
Well, I actually just went inside and asked the White House press shop about this, and they actually said that they are using a scalpel. They use the president's own analogy to be able to say, well, actually, you know, this is very careful and deliberate. And it's also important to point out that they actually increased a lot of spending on things like childhood education, on things like the overall education and healthcare spending in the last year's budget. So this is a cut that's not necessarily a cut from the bottom, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Christina Bellantoni from TalkingPointsMemo.com. You can check out all of their reporting at their website. Christina, thanks for the help.
Thanks, David.